Hey there, thanks for tuning in. Beth here with Homegrown Fitness. I am an exercise physiologist. I've been in the industry for about 10 plus years as a fitness professional.
And I'm Kymberly Klimek. I have a doctor of pharmacy license, and I practice a little bit more functional and integrative medicine. And I'm just really excited to be here today with Beth.
And today we are just doing an open conversation talking about the new year coming up, how you guys are coming into the new year, creating those goals, but maybe more milestones so you're not putting a finish line on that goal. And then talking about nutrition, talking about different fitness, exercise strategies to keep you consistent and motivated. So, entering the new year, what is your goal looking like? I want you to kind of ask yourself that. And are you creating a finish line with this goal? Yes, that's kind of the process when you're creating that SMART goal is you're creating these steps to get to that finish line, but we don't want to create a finish line for ourselves. We want to create more of a milestone. So when you hit that milestone, you continue to move forward and kind of reshift your focus maybe a little bit depending on where you are within the new year, where you are within life, because life is always throwing obstacles at us, building barriers for us. And so we kind of steer off of that path a little bit. So we need to be mindful when we're entering this new year of what barriers we may be facing, what life obstacles are going to be present, and then create different milestones like a plan A and a plan B so we can stay consistent within our fitness journey. And then also kind of shifting into that nutrition. Kim is really good on the nutritional side of things, tuning into our gut health and the importance of gut health. So I'm going to kind of have her talk about how foods play a big role in fueling our bodies and fueling our energy systems.
Yeah, thanks. And I feel like, Beth, you and I were always talking about, we feel like health and wellness is a lifestyle, and that's what we try to teach our clients. Really, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, right now maybe you feel like you're in this hole, or you kind of feel like you dug this hole for yourself, and you're just trying to get out of that, and you're trying new things, and some of it's hard again because your body's kind of coming out of this awakening. Sometimes I like to call it for people. And so, yeah, at that stage, things are usually pretty tough. It's difficult. Your body's going through some changes. It's kind of detoxing a little bit when you start to eat healthier and cleaner foods. So some people, yeah, it's like kind of getting over that hump or those first couple weeks of it. But then long term, because I have a lot of clients always kind of ask me like, well, how long am I going to have to do this? I kind of want them to get that thought process out of their mind, because it's really the long term. It's a long term lifestyle change that you have, and that's what truly brings lasting health and wellness. But yeah, so speaking a little bit to our gut and our gut health, our gut microbiome is so important. Just the way you think and your cognition and your brain power, your brain energy, I like to call it, can be influenced by what's going on with your little critters in your microbiome. And so definitely in functional kind of integrative work, we're always looking for what we call root causes to people's chronic health conditions, or any kind of symptoms that they're experiencing. And an excellent place to begin with for any of these chronic health conditions is generally what's going on in your gut. So throughout our life, we just have a lot of different exposures from the environment, from different toxins, chemicals. Yes, we try to eat as clean as we can, but somehow we kind of acquire these things through the skin, whether we're eating it, inhaling it. Y'all know that we aren't living in the cleanest world, so we try to be as much as we can. But over time, we kind of have this little accumulation, usually of the toxins. And it's kind of that small, slow accumulation over time, which brings on chronic disease. And none of us, and the same thing with fitness, right? We don't just acquire chronic disease in a day, right? It's over time. Same thing with health and fitness. You're not just going to have that fast, quick fix in a week or something. So we are really, really on the forefront of trying to help people understand that really their gut health is their whole body health. And so when you're dealing with underlying infections, when your microbiome isn't balanced with kind of what I call these good guys and bad guys, If you're missing certain, I guess when you have a little bit of toxicity in the body, it tends to bog down your organs' natural ability to carry out their function. So, for example, like people may have low digestive enzymes, their pancreas isn't shooting out those enzymes appropriately. They may have low stomach acid if they have like H. pylori overgrowth, and then they start to get like heartburn, acid reflux. Then you get into kind of irritable bowel syndrome, constipation, loose stools for people. All that stuff I tell people is just not normal. Like you don't really just have to deal with that stuff. And for me, it does come down to helping people resolve some of those issues by helping to replace any little deficiencies in there, bring that microbiome back into balance. Yeah, that can involve incorporation of whole foods. Certain particular foods can have, probiotics and things like that, but we're beyond that now. A lot of people are like, okay, you can take a probiotic maybe to help your gut issues, but we're way beyond that. There's prebiotics, there's probiotics, there's postbiotics. And a single person may not need certain strains of stuff. So that's why if somebody just takes that, like a probiotic or something, it may not solve all their issues, because you really kind of gotta get in there and figure out what's going on in your body, because your gut is not the same as my gut, is not the same as anybody else's gut. But when you start to do that, a lot of things can, you get a lot more restoration in the body. Brain fog starts to lift. Skin starts to clear up. You just have more energy to get up and do the things that you want to do throughout the day. You're not having that little 2 to 4 p.m. afternoon slump. And I always tell people that's all possible for sure. And so that's just how important gut health is to our whole body health.
Yes. I'm gonna check to see what's next, because then I can kind of split here. Appropriate mindset. Let's shift into that relationship with community and food. Okay, so great. Yes, I completely agree with the gut health, and as we're entering the new year and all of the prebiotics, probiotics, and it is scary coming into the nutrition world because it's very overwhelming, and like Kim said, you don't know really where to begin. So where I would suggest beginning with nutrition is, one, definitely meet with Kim. I think that's a great suggestion, but also let's evaluate, let's take a step and see where your relationship is with food first. Like, are you fearful of certain foods? Are you fearful of eating foods? Do you get overstimulated or triggered with like just something sweet? Like the minute you have something sweet, are you going to binge eat with something? Think of like what foods are creating bloating maybe. Like how does your body respond? Like you have to really understand where your body is and how it feels when you eat specific foods. And also like look at your community and your support system. Like when you're starting to make these lifestyle changes, do you have the support from your family, from your friends? Because you may have to make some sacrifices. You may have to just put forward like, hey, I am making some lifestyle changes for me and myself because I want to feel better. You're not doing it for anybody else but yourself. So making that known and clear is going to eliminate the questions from other individuals of why are you doing that? Why are you not drinking with me? That's a common one. Or, oh, just have this piece of pie or have this dessert. It'll make you feel better. Like the minute that we start making these healthier lifestyle choices, that's when people start asking the whys. Like they never ask us why we're gonna have a beer. They don't ask us why we're gonna have an extra dessert. But the minute that we start being physically active and changing our nutritional intake, that's when people start asking why. And you need to figure out where in your community you're gonna have the individuals that don't ask that why, and maybe they support it and do it with you, because that's only gonna make your journey a smoother ride. And just, really investigating to like, are you in the appropriate mindset that, and understanding that this is going to take, it's going to be a step-by-step process. It's not going to happen overnight, and you may hit a plateau. So instead of going into this plateau and again trying to enter a quick fix, once you hit that plateau, and generally people hit a plateau about that 3-month mark, that's when they might go to their doctor and they might reach out, and that doctor may or may not recommend like, oh, like an Ozempic or a Zepbound or a quick, like, you know, I see you struggling, let's try this. But then you enter and you start doing this, and then you get into a maintenance phase. What is a maintenance phase? That's not cleared. My suggestion would be, instead of going to your doctor, that's where we could do the liver cleanse with Kim. That's where we could really digest into your gut health, because now you've shifted your nutritional intake. You're taking in more dark leafy greens. You're taking in more colorful vegetables, those lean meats, those proteins, the yogurts, the low-fat dairy products, the olive oils, the avocado oils. You're taking in some of these ingredients, but yet you hit this plateau. You're still feeling a little bloated. That's where let's now take that next step and meet with Kim, get a liver cleanse done, maybe get some labs done, and then she can really digest more into the gut and the microbiome. Because again, based on my understanding and what I've learned through Kim, is over time, based on all of the previous behaviors that we have done, we've created this fat tissue around the liver, right?
Yeah, adipose tissue or
Yes.
fat tissue,
Yeah.
and you know, various parts of the body. But yeah, I think we talked about that a little bit, and I always kind of tell clients like fat tissue or adipose tissue is just an accumulation of inflammation and toxins at the end of the day, because it has to go somewhere, and that's where it tends to start to get stored in the body. And you don't want to be doing, you know, you don't have to be cleansing all the time. These are just little resets that we do, you know, maybe twice a year or something like that. And I love to do those with the community, because it's much better doing those types of things with the like you said, community. It's all about community. I mean, I can go back to that like 3 different examples. I'm thinking about the time when we did the liver flush together with the community.
Yeah.
There was a lot of positive results there. I'll always do it right there with you guys. Trust me. I'm definitely one of those people who practices what I preach, and I know Beth is for sure too. And I'm going to be doing a little gut cleanse one. We're doing a little parasite cleanse here at the end of the year with a community of people that's looking to help improve their gut health. And yeah, I mean, myself, obviously, I participate and partake in triathlon, so we swim, bike, and run, but I honestly don't think there's no way in hell I'd be able to do all that stuff without my community. It's that crowd of people. We're in the mindset together that we're going to get our asses up at 5 a.m. We're going to get our bed, you know, we're getting our booties to bed at a good time at night, 9 o'clock, making sure we have nice 7 to 8 hours of restorative sleep every night. We would not be able to do this kind of fitness, and we would not be able to be at this level if we were not taking care of our bodies, nourishing it with whole foods, and making sure we eat throughout the day and all those kind of things. So I think you hit the nail on the head. It's really about community. And then I feel like your whole catchphrase of the year of 2025 could really be setting boundaries and just saying no to things that don't serve you, and not being afraid to just be like, yeah, no, sorry, you know, like I'm not gonna go out this weekend with, you know, my friends to the bar or something, because I gotta get up at, you know, Sunday. I got a run that I'm doing with my club or my group or whatever. I gotta be at the gym at this time, because that is the things that it's going to be, you know, continuing restoration throughout your life.
Yes. Yeah. That's lifelong. Those are, and think of everything that you can apply moving forward into 2025. Like if you have a hike that you want to be able to do, how do you have to train for that? What kind of backpacking are you doing? Maybe think of 2025, you want to go and do an out west hunt. Well, is it a horseback riding hunt, or are you going to be on a RV, but you are going to be in elevation? So how do you have to train oxygen consumption? So training for different things. It's not just for fitness events. It's also for lifestyle, family vacations, like hunts, horseback riding. If you want to be able to have the stamina to walk around Disney World, and obviously when you're at Disney World, you're going to be, it's hot, it's humid, you're going to be carrying maybe a child on your hip, pushing a stroller, you're going to need water. So those type of events you want to be physically fit for, and not be huffing and puffing, needing to sit down. You don't want to have knee pain, foot pain. And also too, if you're setting yourself up behavior-wise, nutritionally, and maybe working with a coach, Kim or myself, we can help create a plan for you nutritionally and how you can still allow a funnel cake when you're at Disney World, still allow a cheeseburger and french fries when you're out on a hunting trip. You have to create this balance, and understand like you can still have these foods. You just have to learn to eat them in moderation. You can't eat a whole bag of potato chips. You can't have cheeseburger and french fries 5 days out of the week. You have to be mindful of how many fried foods. We live in Wisconsin, so you have Friday night fish fries. The minute Lent hits, everybody's out for a fish fry on Friday. So if you're going out for a fish fry on Friday, maybe try to stay home Monday through Thursday and cook your own meal. Or if you are going to go out, this is where having that cleaner option or healthier option is going to come into play for you. So a salad or a chicken breast with some sauteed vegetables. You can still have your potatoes. I've really been trying to work with my clients on looking at their day and when are you most active, when are you most moving. Generally, most of the population, most of our community is moving from 5 a.m. until 7 p.m. at night. Possibly 5 p.m. because if your children are in sports, you're going to be sitting on a bleachers. So when you are moving from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. at night and you're intermittent fasting and you're not having a meal until 12 p.m. and then you close that at 7 p.m., but now you're taking in a large volume of calories from noon to 7 p.m. and then you start to get these cravings from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and that's when you're sitting on the couch. That's when you're tired, you're exhausted. So the first thing that your body is going to want is that sugar craving. And I usually say, okay, you can allow yourself to have like a handful of peanut M&Ms, but you have to, again, maybe not having the M&Ms, switch it to dark chocolate and the dry roasted peanuts. But I like to shift focus. Let's eliminate the intermittent fasting because that's just a fad in my eye. Everybody is intermittent fasting.
We can agree on that then.
I think
I'm trying to get my clients, especially my ladies out there, I'm trying to get y'all to shift your mindset to, let's, I feel like in our society there was just a lot of like focus always put on dinner as your biggest meal of the day.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Really, there's been so much research that has come out now that shows hitting that high protein goal in the morning with your breakfast is literally going to set you up for success throughout the day.
Yes.
It's going to balance your blood sugar. It's going to help your hormone health, ladies, all throughout the day, because a lot of that, our fluctuations in hormones is dependent on our blood sugar regulation throughout the day. And trust me, I have had clients, I've had to kind of open their eyes, if you will, to have them understand that, they usually get that little rush from intermittent fasting because they maybe lose about 10 pounds or so, 10 to 15, like that first portion of when they're doing it, and then they sort of hit that plateau. And I hear it all the time. They kind of hit that plateau. Then what's starting to happen is thyroid health is going down in the tank, and I've seen it. I see the labs every day. And now I really, it's like I think it was a little bit easier to help clients understand that when they have data in front of their eyes. And I'm like, well, now your thyroid health's in the tank because you're telling me your hair's falling out and other things. We're definitely on the same page about that. But now I was kind of tell people too, here's that other little tip and trick is getting, when you are having your dinner, it doesn't have to be like your biggest meal of the day at your dinner, but a lot of people understand, okay, they want to hit maybe that protein, fats, and carbs, but really the healthy fats and a serving of fiber at your dinner meal will set you up for a successful sleep throughout the night, okay? You don't want to be eating like an hour before bed. Try to get that at least to be like 2 hours, before you're gonna really lay down. Some nights, whatever, if you're out a little bit and then you just, you gotta eat and then you kind of go to bed an hour later, it's fine. But on a regular, consistent basis, you really want to have a nice 2-hour window for sure. And then when you hit that healthy fats and fiber at dinner, that's going to help you balance your blood sugar all throughout the night so that you're not waking up between 2 and 4 a.m. when you got maybe some liver issues and your liver's trying to process your glucose and everything from the day. Those are definitely some good tricks, but we're definitely on the same page about the fasting.
Well, and I feel like
fasting at least. Definitely like a fast. I'll be kind of clear about that. But when you have a short window of fasting, like a maybe 48 hours, 72 hours kind of thing, that can be super powerful for cell regeneration, or we call it like cell autophagy, like in integrative medicine, where it just allows your cells to kind of reset in the body. There's been numerous studies that does help with things, but this long-term fasting, especially for women, is just not ideal for your whole body health.
Well, and I feel too like when you're restricting yourself to calories in a short period of time, you're just overloading your body and your metabolism. So it's like your body can only do so much in a short amount of time. So if we can space out that calorie intake, and I generally, like you said, you have your fiber and your protein source and your vegetables in the evening hour, but and the protein in the morning I think is a great option. So if you can have, you know, more calories starting in your day, again, high protein, lean protein source, pairing it with maybe some vegetables, a little bit of a fruit, and then you can have your normal lunch, but then start to trickle down to that calorie intake by the evening hour. And I, again, rule just very generic, and it's going to be based on the individual, but I say each meal could be about 500 calories if you're having your 3 meals a day. Then you can incorporate different snacks. If you're a bodybuilder, your meals are going to be different. But if you're only having 3 meals a day that are 500 calories, that's 1,500 calories. And most women are entering the new year saying, I can only have 1,200 or under. And most people need to have at least 1,200 to 1,500 calories just to sustain everyday functions. But if you're applying fitness into it, and if you're applying, you know, different nutritional diets, fads out there, don't make it a fad, don't make it a diet, make it a lifestyle. What is sustainable for you and your body? And like if somebody's coming and telling me something that they've listened to you know, on Instagram or Facebook or Googled, you know, put yourself into this calorie restriction, yeah, you are going to lose weight, but that is where our bodies will plateau over time. If you're only taking in 500 to 700 calories legitly a day, but then you're working out in the morning and at night, you're putting your health in these high stress states when you're stressed out already because you're not taking in enough calories. You're totally reversing the whole process, right?
You're psychologically going to get burnt out from that. Always feeling like you need to be on a diet or some particular, you know, regimen. In my practice even, I give people what I like to call guidelines for their nutrition. Like I'll give them, for me definitely, if I have some lab work, some blood work, some functional and integrative precision health testing that I'm using, and there's some clear-cut things staring me in the face that do require a little bit more targeted nutrition. Like when I got some people who have autoimmune issues, very clear as day, lots of inflammation in the body, we may have to be a little bit more strict, like no dairy, no gluten for a time period. For me, it's a time period, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. It's going to bring a lot of restoration to your body once we kind of calm that storm down. But then you always should be reintroducing these foods. And even when, you know, there's definitely a lot of hype around so much like elimination diets and always doing elimination diets. Well, that's not good for your body like long term. But yes, I mean, like I said, if someone's got some very inflammatory markers, sky high, staring me in the face, they have very autoimmune type scenario, that is going to help you, no doubt. But then again, we shift that focus to once the body has healed, we keep maintenance things going, and then you can reintroduce, because dairy is it's a very nutritional component of a diet. There's so much protein content. I mean, for somebody to just say like you should never have dairy for the rest of your life that's a strong statement in my eyes.
Especially living in Wisconsin.
Yeah, right.
Surrounded by dairy farms.
Yeah, for sure. And unfortunately, again, some of it we get into these genetics, where you kind of, especially with people who have celiacs, you know, they get that gene turn on, and now that's just, right now there's no, I think they're trying to do research to see if you can ever switch that gene kind of off. Unfortunately, you know, we're not at that state in science yet, but so those people definitely, you know, they're definitely watching what they eat in terms of gluten and stuff like that. But for like the dairy component, and I learned this too, and I'll give you an example of just my own self. Like I was in college and I had Hashimoto's, I had thyroid issues, I had they labeled it IBS, which now I know is like a cop-out diagnosis because I had chronic constipation for days, and I could never eat like a lick of dairy because it would just blow me up, and I would just like, I would eat it sometimes and then I'd basically be suffering every time I ate it, and I never could understand like why my friends would just be like eating pizza and everything was fine. But that was because I had a lot of health issues going on. I had a lot of inflammation in my body. I had, like I said, I had autoimmune Hashimoto's, and over time now I eat dairy and I'm fine. Like I'm great because I've worked on so much things, but like we were talking about, none of this stuff happens overnight. Even when I was dealing with my own like hormone imbalances and issues, and that's kind of getting into the why. Me and Beth wanted to share our why about why we started our businesses, and mine definitely stems from dealing with hormonal painful periods and hormonal imbalances and issues in my early 20s. And now it's wild because I'm seeing that happen with younger and younger still females, but I just kind of got tired of it over and over again, going to the doctor and then just basically telling me to take ibuprofen and Advil, and I would, like 2 weeks out of the month, every month, I was just in like pain. I was tired. I was dealing with tons of bloating and digestive issues, chronically tired. But yet here I was like trying to do all these trends. I would go on the elliptical for hours at a time, just thinking, okay, well, if I exercise, it's just gonna fix everything. But really it was like actually changing and working on my gut health that brought a lot of restoration for me, because one of the first things I learned when I kind of had my second endometriosis surgery back in October 2021 was sort of my tipping point, if you will. I had gone 10 years, right? I feel like this is like, I was on a hamster wheel for a while. I was like, why didn't I get off that hamster wheel? Because we always say the definition of insanity, right? It's just doing the same thing over and over again and expecting, a different outcome. So yeah, it took me 10 years, people. But anyways, I mean, I walked out of that last appointment, and then I was just like, all they were going to offer me after my second laparoscopic surgery to remove more endometriosis and tissue growth outside my reproductive organs was more birth control, take more ibuprofen, Tylenol, or you can come back here and have another surgery if it happens again. And then they just said, yes, this is lifelong. This will always happen to you. And, or you can get pregnant. Of course, I was like, that's a fun answer, because yes, I do want to have a baby, but not right now. So I left that appointment, and I went back to work like a week and a half later after recovery a little bit from the surgery, and a colleague of mine, I was working at Oneida Community Health Center here in Green Bay, and a colleague of mine had given me a book, and I tell everybody the book, and it was called Hormone Intelligence by Dr. Aviva Ram, and that was sort of my starting point, and it was because I had asked my OB-GYN, I was like, is there any lifestyle things that I can do to help prevent this? Because I was very like determined at that point. And he was just kind of like, yeah, no, this is what we know about this disease, and it's just going to continue to happen probably throughout your life, and you can just come here and we'll help you with it again. And yeah, nobody wants to be paying thousands of dollars for surgeries like every couple of months. But so I just started implementing some of the lifestyle changes, and honestly, it started out slow. Just like changing what I was eating. Yes, I did at the time. I had went like gluten-free and dairy-free because I had a lot of inflammation in my body, no doubt. And then I started taking just some foundational supplements like magnesium and fish oil, because a lot of people walking this planet got a lot of imbalances in their omegas, and that's like a huge link to so many health things: painful periods, brain fog. You have like when you have low HDL markers on your cholesterol panel, or you have high triglycerides, it's telling you there's an imbalance in omegas, and you need a nice balance of omega-3s and 6s to feel well. And so it was just some of those little things I started with, and it was crazy how just within even the first month of doing those little lifestyle things consistently, I started to feel better. I mean, yeah, granted, I had just come out from my second surgery. I was feeling, because I did feel good. Thank goodness for Western medicine in that aspect, because at that time I had the growth. There was really nothing I could do about it. But my mindset was like, okay, how do I be preventative to prevent these growths from happening again? Because I'm going to do it. I'll do whatever it takes. Because when you're so far down that rabbit hole, and you're tired of dealing with pain and tired of having a chronic condition or labeled oh, you have diabetes, or you have high blood pressure, or you have high cholesterol. You just have to manage this with a medication that tends to give you maybe more side effects than what you want. But yeah, we can heal the body. And yeah, I think here we are 3 years later. I would say it definitely took, just to give people a time frame, it really took me a solid year, little over a year, to really see those fruits of my labor, if you will. Started having better periods, normal periods, was starting to get them more regulated, less pain, and started to learn about the female body, learn about my cycle, learn that the foods that I put into my body affected every aspect of my health, saying no to anything that wasn't going to align with the changes I wanted to make.
Right.
And that kind of brought me to here. And then I thought, oh, well, if I could do this and it made me feel better, there must be other chronic diseases and chronic health conditions that can be helped by these lifestyle changes. At the end of the day, yeah, get your fitness and get your regular fitness, activity, movement, and get holistic foods, whole foods into your body, and be more open to just holistic medicine in general, which really just focuses on eliminating root causes that drive these inflammatory conditions or these metabolic conditions in the body. At the end of the day, I was told that in functional medicine training that every chronic disease, it stems from one huge thing is blood sugar regulation. So, and I always tell people, you don't have to be diabetic to
experience the rushes.
Because you will, you do and you know. And I was like, when you really stop to think about it, it was like, oh crap, I eat this cupcake, a couple hours later or something, you're gonna get that little crash after it.
Yeah.
So and to that extent, I wanted to just say too, because we were talking about gut health and people when they have these kind of cravings, I wanted to make sure we hit on this, is that sometimes I tell people with gut health, because everybody, if you have never really worked on your gut or thought about your gut or your microbiome or anything, you probably got some imbalances going on. But if you are really a person who has a lot of cravings, I always tell people, well, it may not necessarily be you, it may actually be an overgrowth of particular bugs, and they are the ones that are craving those things, especially sugars too, because I want to say there's definitely a large population of people that have candida overgrowth in the gut. We all naturally have bugs, but what creates the problem is when they have an overgrowth. And we get knocked down. We get knocked down because we have to take antibiotics, or that's what you think, because they tell you that, right? The only thing that's going to fix this. Or whatever, people start to get chronic, tonsils get inflamed, then it keeps happening. Well, again, don't go on that hamster wheel of insanity. Ask, why am I chronically getting these infections? Why is my immune system so low all the time? It's probably what's going on in your gut.
Yeah. Gut plays a huge role. What are, so coming into the new year, what would be somebody just fresh coming into the gate, has these goals and milestones with weight loss? What would be, you mentioned omega-3 is a supplement you would probably recommend. What would be some primary foods that you would suggest for people to implement just to help start shifting them into cleaning out their system maybe a little bit better, and just making them feel good? And then maybe by month 3, hopefully they'll get an appointment with you and myself. But what would be some foods that you would recommend people to start implementing coming into the new year?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, a lot of, I guess I can't assume, but a lot of people, I think they understand this concept of trying to have a well-balanced plate with their lean meats, the kind of, really in America, you need to think about quality sourced grains. If you're looking at a food label and the first thing it says is enriched bleached flour or whatever, it's a terrible product for you. This is why there's this huge movement for people to make sourdough and their homemade products now, because we're just tired of the garbage that's in food products at the grocery store, and you need to pay attention. If you are not looking at food labels, you are basically asking for chronic disease, because they put it in there and they don't care. Whatever's the cheapest ingredient that they can make their product with and then upsell it to you, That's what they're doing, unfortunately. They don't have your well-being in mind. They don't. Not these big corporations. So, so a lot of people want to have gardens. They want to have control over, how those fruits and vegetables are grown, making sure that they limit, exposure to pesticides, harmful chemicals, that kind of stuff, glyphosate. But really, like, grains is huge thing, because a lot of it, like when I was in college, they were like, yeah, let's eat whole wheat, right? Whole wheat, but still there's crappy products on the market that are whole wheat products. Same with just like a lot of even if a product is in like a gluten-free aisle, people always, there was this like time period where I think people were like, oh, if you eat gluten-free, that's like healthy or gonna make you lose weight. No, there's a lot of garbage gluten-free products on the market that are laced with like canola oil, sunflower oil, all these like inflammatory seed oils. You want to start somewhere, clean out your pantry full of inflammatory seed oils. You can probably lose 5 pounds just from doing that and not eating that stuff, because all it is creating inflammation in your body. So start there, and then the other thing I'm telling people is get to eating some foods that are gonna help your liver. That's where you're gonna actually, and then we talk about constipation for people, because then that means you're recirculating toxins, you're not having good bowel movements, everything's staying in your body. Because our primary ways of eliminating the toxins are sweating and bowel movements.
My kids know this.
Excellent. They're already learning everything. Yes. So you have to get those bowels moving. And again, like I said, as someone who experienced a lot of chronic constipation, like when I was in college, I was just like made aware now through functional medicine of how important that is. And it was crazy, because you would go to the doctor and be complaining of, and they're like, well, how often you go to the bathroom? Oh, like once a week. Okay. They just like don't see that as an issue. Whereas now I would scream, like my brain goes, whoa, once a week? No. We got to get you going like once a day at least. And whatever, we can start with maybe once every other day. But the way you actually help improve your bowel movements is actually helping your liver. No, it doesn't get any love. And that's why we started with that kind of thing, of even just, you care about weight loss, care about your liver, because it's the primary area that it's like a little sieve, right? It soaks up, it's a filter for our body. It soaks up all the toxins that the blood has to filter. So then it kind of is like a little sponge, and it's soaking up those toxins. So when you eat particular foods, it does help your liver release toxins. It helps the gallbladder flush the bile, and bile is actually what moves things through the digestive tract. I learned that. So that's where, like, when people take a little bit of digestive enzymes, or like ox bile or TUDCA, it can help them with bowel movements a little bit, because you're just basically giving the body some bile. But I say to eat things, and now I do. This morning I had underneath my eggs. Actually, usually if I'm eating a protein-packed breakfast, it's like today it looked like 3 eggs, 3 chicken sausages, right on top of a bed of arugula. Then I put a little coconut aminos, because I know nobody wants to eat a plain piece of lettuce like in the morning for breakfast. I wouldn't either. Like, jazz it up a little bit. You can put a little flavor in it. So I love those coconut aminos. They're so great. I put that on there, and then I did have a piece of sourdough, and that then usually put some collagen in my coffee. Easily hit 30 grams just by doing that, because there is a little bit of protein in sourdough too. But the arugula, back to the point of it, but the arugula actually helps stimulate the liver and the gallbladder and the bile release in the body. And so eating things like beets, eating like bitter foods like radishes, I said arugula, dandelion greens, you can throw those in your smoothie. I actually have a bag of milk thistle powder, organic milk thistle powder. Milk thistle will help cleanse the liver too, so I put that in smoothies sometimes. I have a beetroot powder I put in smoothies. And I tell people, okay, like just do these things as a lifestyle thing. Don't and you don't have to take like a million supplements to do it all. Like, definitely let's try to get it through nutrition. For me, when I am advising supplements, it's usually stuff that I really feel is foundational. We live in Wisconsin, you all need vitamin D and D3 with K2. Probably around 7,000 to 8,000 IUs in the winter easily. Everybody who I've tested is low. They're not optimal, if you will. And that's what we try to do. We try to get you to be optimal. But magnesium is another one. Unfortunately, we can't really get that all through food. So that's something that I do personally supplement with every day, and you want probably a bare minimum, you're definitely getting some insights here, bare minimum of about 400 milligrams total daily dose for magnesium. That should come in the form, and again, there's like 15 different forms. So if you're taking a crappy like magnesium oxide, you're not getting any benefit. It's a low bioavailable magnesium form that it's like placebo. So these companies that put it in a product and then sell it, like shame on them, because it's not doing anything for your body. But you need something like glycinate. Malate is good for the brain. L-threonate is a good form as well. So a combination, or if you just want to do glycinate, that's an overall well-rounded one. I have a bulk bottle of glycinate in my bathroom right now because it's good for sleep, muscle recovery. But magnesium is responsible for over 400 functions in the body. So you can imagine you will just generally feel fatigued if you don't have that. Then it also can help with bowel movements too. Citrate is going to be more for if you're constipated. Capsule form, not the bottle at the grocery store that'll flush you out. But those are just foundations for sure. Omegas, those three easily. Vitamin D. I just say that because when I think about it, in Wisconsin we don't have a lot of quality fish here. Sources. So, and I'm always, I'm going to be a proponent for wild caught fish and clean sources of food in every aspect, because I could be like, I'm eating healthy, but if it's all garbage or laced with seed oils or whatever, then it's not benefiting me. It's got mercury in it, all that stuff. So, but we just don't have a lot of high access to those quality wild caught fish here in Wisconsin. Based on where we live geographically. So I think that's just something I've seen a lot of people are just very, like, they tend to have higher triglycerides and low HDL levels. That can help with like brain fog and period pain. Ironically, that's like those two things, magnesium and omega balance, is something that most people, if you're having period pain, you should get to take those. Those are foundations, and I feel like any of the other supplements like people are taking, first of all, you want to make sure they're in the right form, because I kind of go through people's bottles and I'm like, oh, this is not, there's no bioavailability in that. You're wasting your money on that. You're wasting your money on that. This has got preservatives and fillers in it. This is going to harm your cells. We get down to the cellular level, because you take that, and again, I'm not like the supplement police, if you will.
But you have to be mindful of where it's coming from. Who developed it, what's the factory outlay for it. You have to be mindful. That's the same thing like you mentioned with the ingredients and watching the nutrition labels. Like, you really have to digest the ingredient list and figure out what's in the food that you're actually eating, because when you don't, and again, you don't have to eliminate all of the snacky foods, but if you're eating them 5-7 days out of the week, then we probably should pull back the reins a little bit and say, instead of having potato chips, let's maybe make our own potato chips. Slice up a whole potato, sweet potatoes and a regular russet red potato, and then you can just season it with a little Himalayan sea salt, a little olive oil, throw it in your oven and bake it at 425 and make it a chip, or make it a soft little one. Top it with cheese. Get creative in your kitchen. I like to say that a lot to my clients. It's like, now is the time to experiment and learn. Like, get back to playing in the kitchen. When we were kids, we used to play all the time in the sandbox, pretend kitchen or pretend restaurant. Like, why did we ever stop and learn how to cook and prepare foods? You have a lot of sources out there that give you different recipes from Pinterest. You can just Google now, but you can really just figure out how to prepare and cook foods based on what you like. And I really like to say, like, I'm a family of 5. I eat one way, my kids eat another, and my husband eats another. So I am preparing my food. I always try to figure out what my kids are going to eat and my husband, but what can I add to that meal for myself? So I always try to make sure, like, I'm getting in all these ingredients, and then I have my kids try my foods, and if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. I'm not going to push all of this stuff on it, but the more that I can add into their diet and nutritional palette, the more it's going to make them expand and try new things versus just sticking to a regular meatball. And we eat a lot of venison in our house, so I make my meatballs with pork sausage and venison, so it's not all dry and it's not all fat, so I like to mix it in. Or, I still stick to the basic food groups for kids, which is pizza, but I've shifted to alternatives. I'm trying to make my own pizzas, and I've tried different crusts with them, but kids are picky. My husband is more of a meats guy. He likes his lean meats, and yes, he'll have raw vegetables, but he doesn't like cooked vegetables, so he would just like to have his meats and his potatoes, sometimes a grain. So it's, you have to learn what your family likes, but you also have to be adventurous in the kitchen and experiment. No, you may throw some food out. That happens. I have done it, and it's you feel guilty inside, but like if you're the only one that will eat it and you don't really like it, why hang on to it or scarf it down? I mean, you do you during this time, but like as you're entering, like just get in the kitchen and play around and designate one day out of your week to meal prep and plan. Like it is a lot of work to meal prep, but if you're in the kitchen on Sunday making your breakfast for the family, why not chop up your vegetables for the week? Why not prepare your big salad bowl? Why not cook your chicken breast right away for the week? Or maybe plan for Sunday night, if you guys are doing a grill out, throw on your chicken breast and hamburgers. Now you have chicken breast you can make up into multiple meals. You have your hamburgers to make up into multiple meals. So food prepping is going to save you stress throughout the week, especially if you have sports going on, if you have dance recitals, if you have a long work week or work night, if you're traveling late. Like if you plan and prepare, it's going to set you up for success. And yes, you are going to have those obstacles. You're going to have those barriers where you're tired, you don't feel like cooking in the middle of the week. Stop at a restaurant and know where you're going to get something good quality and nutrient dense.
Yeah.
Just don't run through the drive-thru at McDonald's. Again, I'm not cutting down if you have to stop there. I'm not going to cut it down if you have a cheeseburger once every 2 weeks. It's not going to kill you, but it's not going to benefit you because of your goals and steps that you have in play for building lifelong behavior. Fitness wise, I would definitely suggest don't jump in to 5 days a week. Designate 2 to 3 days out of your week. And I always say pick one day out of the weekend to get in physical activity, because you usually have somebody there to help you if you have children. So your spouse or you and your spouse can exercise with the kids together, because then you have a helping hand. And then designate for sure 2 days out of the week to do it. If you're getting up early in the morning doing floor work, start small, give me 20 minutes. Or do 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the afternoon. Because a lot of times when people are entering this new year, they're going big and they're going to get burnt out by week number 2, 3, because it's usually high intensity. I'm going to hit that treadmill as hard as I can for 30 minutes, and then I'm going to attend 5 different boot camps out of that week. Yeah. And again, you're just going to get burnt out. You're going to, see the scale fluctuate a lot in those 2 weeks, because now your body is trying to adapt to the changes that you're doing to it. You're taking in extra water. You're now trying to build in muscle mass. So you're trying to do too much all in one time. So start out small and create the patterns and the behaviors. So when you do confront an obstacle or a barrier, it's easier to work around. That would be kind of like...
That's an excellent piece of advice too. And I was like, I definitely, I classify myself as a seasoned athlete, but let me tell you, when you don't use it, you lose it. Because if I were to lay off the gas, I would say a little bit. I'm a little bit more in peak training right now, but if I lay off the gas for about 2 weeks, I'd get out of the treadmill. I could probably barely run a mile myself. So just letting you know, I'm human. We're all human. Yes. So it's like, it's the lifestyle of consistency. Yes, you fall off the wagon a little bit, but just don't make that chronic. Like, okay, whatever, you miss a workout for the week that was on your schedule, but don't let it become 2, 3 workouts, because then it's extremely hard to get back into it. So great piece of advice. I wanted to add 2 things to the nutrition. Try to add more color throughout the day. I have this like little sheet that I send to clients, and I was like, it's like a little journal, but I have it printed off sometimes, and I probably gave it to my last client because I normally have it on my fridge. But it's like just a little journal about, did I actually eat a variety of these colors? And I'm going to be like doing a post about that soon on my Instagram. But the variety of colors bring in the food that you eat. And nobody thought about this before, because it was like, oh, I never thought to eat like purple cabbage or like purple onions or like orange bell peppers or the yellow bell peppers. Like I never thought about that really in my life, but actually eating those variety of colors brings different polyphenols and antioxidants, which scavenge your free radicals, which damage your cells and your body. And the other tip and trick, so I have that little journal, and you can like literally check off, oh, did I eat like a yellow piece of food today? Did I eat? And that's all it's there for. It's not to be like, okay, you have to count every little calorie. It's to be like, well, did I get the variety of the colors in for today? And if you do, most of that, you're going to be doing a good job. Like if you do that a majority of the days of the week. And that actually brings prebiotics into the gut as well, because there's lots of foods that you can eat that are prebiotics. But the other thing, best piece of advice, and you can go and look in my purse now, is bringing healthy protein snacks with you on the go. I have like a bag of mixed nuts. I have a grass-fed beef stick, or I'll bring an organic piece of string cheese, and I always take those little snacks with me when I go, so that yes, if I'm running errands or here or there, like I am not getting hangry and then I'm gonna want to go to the drive-thru or go to Culver's or something to get that. And that's like, I find myself, my blood sugar stays balanced. Like then I'm not like in an emergency panic, like, oh my gosh, I just need to eat whatever I can get my hands on. I find that to be like very, very beneficial. And even I will be to the point of, because a lot around here, what I notice is there's not a lot of breakfast places that give you high protein. Right. So like I'll be at a restaurant and be like, oh yeah, I need like 2 more eggs on this order, please. Or I will like take a little bag of my like whey protein and I will put it in my like oatmeal, or put it in my little like smooth yogurt or whatever. And I'll bring that with.
Obstacles and barriers that are set in that may come forward, trying to figure out a route to work around them. Maybe reach out to Kim and myself. We would definitely love to work with you guys from a fitness coaching standpoint to a nutritional gut health standpoint. But pairing the team together, we're creating a continuum of care plan for you to bring you the best health. Now, coming into the new year, think your health is going to bring you wealth. So if you designate this year into becoming a healthier you, down the road, it's going to make you so much better at being able to accomplish all the tasks that you want to do. You're not going to have to worry about illnesses. Yes, we're going to try to prevent illnesses as best as possible. We're going to look back at your behaviors, look back at your relationships that you've had, why you are the way that you are. You have to understand you are where you are at currently because of everything from your past, from that, maybe 12, 13, 14, because a lot of things happen in that time zone when we're 12, 13, 14. That's when we start remembering things to create and build the person that we are today if we haven't already learned them. So you really have to start digging deep now to understand how you got into where you are at. That's weight-wise, that's behavior-wise, that's food relationship-wise, that's relationship community-wise. And if you want to improve that and be better, we have to figure those steps out, and we can work together on that. You do not have to go it alone, but we would love to connect. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me via email. I'll also put Kim's email in there. Otherwise, follow us on Instagram, Facebook. We're both on there, and you can find all the tips and tricks moving forward. You can connect with us there, but following along to start building a path for you. I wish you guys a great new year and hope to connect soon. Thank you so much for joining, Kim.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Beth. And
stay tuned for more, because we'll probably do this again. Thank you. That was